I'm sorry.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome everyone that loves Final Fantasy VII Remake. I truly appreciate every single one of you here in this channel, Simo RPG. Guys, today we're gonna talk about Chapter 14. And Chapter 14 on Final Fantasy VII Remake is a very dear chapter. It's called In Search of Hope. And on the surface is about healing and reconnection, but if we look deeper, you will see the cracks of fate withering, the characters shifting emotionally and spiritually, and maybe the moment Aerith begins a quiet goodbye. Well, soldiers, today we'll be together, breaking down all the hidden meaning behind Chapter 14, what it reveals about Aerith's fate, the role of the Whispers, and why this calm before the storm moment might be the last real peace our heroes ever know. In this chapter here, it's kind of Aerith's goodbye, love paths, and the final calm. And it's actually awesome to see every single reaction in every single character that we play with. Either it's Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, and even Aerith's mother. What we're gonna have is, the awakening in Elmira's house. So on chapter 14, opens with Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa awakening in Elmira's house. The emotional weight of Sector 7 collapse still lingers. Everyone is mourning, confused or lost. This is where the first feel the tone shifts of the game, from survival to legacy.
Can't sleep.
Here we see one of the most meaningful parts of the game. You can see here the big love that Tifa and Cloud already displayed, and the true meaning of Aerith's absence. Aerith is gone, and her absence hangs over everything. The characters say she went to Shinra HQ on her own, but it's how she left that's important. No goodbye, no hesitation. It's almost like she knew. This was her path alone. And of course, it's not only her path. It's the path of these characters. Once again, Shinra stole something from both Aerith, Cloud, and Tifa. And it's very important, this part here, where Tifa just breaks down. And he says, they took everything from us, yet again. And Cloud, just out of nowhere, and we know how cold and emotionless Cloud can be. But for the first time, he holds Tifa. Is it the break of his mentality right now on Tifa behind because of Aerith being gone? It is something to think about while we see this message. No doubt about it, this scene is very important. So with that saying, one of the strongest theories is that Aerith knows exactly what's coming. Not just from her connection to the planet, but because she already lived this timeline before. Her calm, her resolve, it's heartbreaking when you rewatch it with that in mind. believe that it's not easy for these characters that they just met Aerith and now they definitely need to go to save her
Elmira,
because she gave
I've been thinking about what you said.
so much for all of them.
calling out to me. I can feel it.
In this fate, this Whisper's fate, if you want to be more in depth with it, is no doubt the real connection there, Aerith, as with the characters and with the planet.
I always knew it was coming. Knew that one day,
The love choices here
to my baby girl.
and the fate that bounds each choice that
Please.
Claude, Aerith, or Tifa and Barrett did, it's no small thing, you know? With that said, with such a strong feeling right now of saving Aerith, Barrett, which is one of the best written characters ever, says goodbye to Marlene in order to save someone that he barely knew.
Some bad people are trying to hurt the planet. And Daddy,
Depending on your relationship choices, as we could see, Cloud can share a nighttime scene with Tifa, which was the choice that we made, Aerith or Barrett. But they are not just optional scenes. They each represent a path that the timeline can take. We saw that we did prefer Tifa-wise, but in each version,
and that's why
we see Cloud vulnerable, romantically, emotional, or fraternal.
now we have to go.
It doesn't matter in which one of these feelings are there. This moment is not just about affection, it's about which connections matter the most before the climax begins.
You should help her.
One theory? These scenes subtly influence the Whisper's behavior later in the game. Do you think this is possible? Do you think that makes sense in this amazing roller coaster of emotions by then? That this scene
You can go.
or this individual scenes means so much more than just waking up at night without knowing the future. It's not.
He's tougher than me.
This is no doubt about
All right, time to get some payback.
no doubt about
We're
it.
doing this.
I know. To rescue.
Connections. And which one mattered the most for it? We see that the Whisper's behavior later in the game can be adaptable of which choices you made. But do they represent the final outcome of it? Not quite. Because as we saw in the last chapter, the last two chapters actually, and where you can see in the video it's where it all begins, part 1 and 2, it doesn't matter. The outcome would be the same. Aerith is taken from the party
They want him, we got him.
and they need to rescue her.
After what they've done, what choice do we have?
And there's no doubt about it. Is the main center
We ain't no damn pawns of Wu-Tai.
of all the drama around chapter 14.
No one will listen to us. There's no point in even
The
trying.
whispers on this chapter 14 do not intervene as much as we saw in other ones.
Hey, Tifa, listen.
Why is that? Why do you think
So what is
suddenly they don't seem to
this path we chose.
intervene more or want to shape the future, want to shape
I know.
destiny in order that this timeline continues
Instead of looking forward, you need to look around.
his rightful path. Well,
Everyone here is terrified.
we got a few answers for you guys in that matter. And if you are watching till here, we appreciate you so much, and I hope that you spend the time to reflect on this video and reflect on these theories if you love theories about Final Fantasy VII. Reflect on these theories, and of course, if you can, only if you can, we will ask you if you can subscribe, like, and comment your own theories if you have, or if you have any suggestion for our channel. No doubt about it, without the Whisper's interference and the timeline signals that shows, we now think, now, if something's up, there are no Whispers present during this chapter 14. But
Time no see.
that absence speaks volumes. Some fans believe the Whispers are silent here because Aerith's choice to go to Shinra IQ is destiny aligned. And like I said in the previous videos, it is.
So,
We know that. There is no other explanation. They don't need to interfere yet.
follow me.
But of course, they did interfere in small things. You know, for example, we see Biggs
Let's just hear
and Jesse. We saw them there. Was that because they were almost surviving the Shinra attack, and they needed to, you know, keep that in check?
What's the deal with the hole?
Well, it's been 5 years since the game came out, so this is no spoiler for anyone.
I'll give you what you need to get top.
Biggs do survive
Want
that.
us to go back into the sewers with you?
Wedge we don't know,
What's down there?
because the last thing we saw from Wedge was the Whispers and a window cracking.
You're not gonna try to.
But we know that Biggs
If that's what you think, walk away. I'll find somebody else.
Biggs is in the orphanage.
You'll have to find another way to get topside.
So if he is in the orphanage, maybe he did survive.
We're in.
Say what?
But
He betrays us.
we will go there in a few videos, I guess. This quiet from the Whispers. This quiet from the Whispers.
Down.
Maybe the eye of the storm,
No.
as if fate is waiting, watching, before stepping back in full force during chapter 17. Because that's what we see in chapter 17, you know?
Seriously, what's the deal with the hole?
It's a
So,
time for the dark.
what do we know so far? Our decisions in the game influenced this chapter here. But why?
Recently, that is.
Why only this chapter? Why only this choice to have a conversation either with Aerith, Tifa, or Barrett? Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense on this, right? But bear with me and think a bit about what it meant, the choices.
You are gonna hold up your end of the bargain, right?
As long as you hold up yours.
So,
Yeah.
with the fact that all decisions that we made so far in the game reflect on chapter 14, which is the chapter before you actually going further on everything,
I take it
you know,
for the monster.
because then after this chapter there's no coming back.
To say it, but I can barely take them on my own.
You know, you go chapter 15, you're already on the top, on the way to Shinra HQ. So there's no coming back from that. There's no one, you know? That's what's gonna happen. You go into Shinra HQ and Destiny in itself, it's done.
Head for the trunk line. It marks the border with Sector 7. You three lead the way.
So, everything in Chapter 14's setting is symbolic. Daylight returning, children rebuilding, flowers blooming, and there's a visual sense of recovery, but it's fragile, temporary. Well, once again, this can be read as a false hope, right? The world giving us peace
Jesse and Biggs, that
only to emphasize the loss that is coming.
I never got the chance to.
And we know the loss that is coming, don't we? We know that in Final Fantasy VII OG, we had the same loss. We lost Aerith once
The one over there.
and a final time.
heard you.
So maybe, just maybe, that's what is going to happen. Or is it? Because with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth already out for a while and we saw the ending, the new chapter is hinted. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, if you want to say it. And there's rumors on the internet. But we don't know when it's coming out. But what we do know is
Your time to shine.
if the Whispers of Fate intervene, Aerith,
Can I ask you something?
for the timeline's sake, will die.
Everything.
Andrea, you told me to.
So,
Really it?
And I couldn't bring myself to let it out.
this piece here,
Huh?
It doesn't matter. Let's go.
remember this piece here right now, on chapter 14, is a sign for us to remember that FF7 Remake is all about disrupting expectations, disrupting the timeline in order to save Aerith. Especially for returning fans. We know what happens next. We all know what happens, right? I don't know if you guys play this a lot, or while you're watching the video you are playing now Final Fantasy VII Remake, or even if you ever played Final Fantasy OG. But we know when Aerith is taken by Shinra, we know what's happening. We are going to save her. Save for what? For her own doom. Because then we lead her to her own death. Their own sacrifice.
Then you're telling me we're not.
For us. You know?
Sorry, guys.
For the sake of the planet. For the sake of the light stream. To stop Sephiroth. It's just crazy. You know? And we see that Aerith's role in this chapter is ghost-like. She's not physical here, but her presence dominates everything. And if the right choices were made to talk with Aerith instead of Tifa or Barrett, you will see, and there's things that you will say that, well, you will have feelings, but do not care about these feelings. They are not real. How deep and awesome that can be, right? She's not physical there. Theories suggest that she's already begun aligning herself with the planet to try and rewrite fate. She's not waiting for help. She is sacrificing. That's what actually means all this chapter. And of course,
Sorry.
we can wait and see
That's not your pendant either.
what is going to happen on the third part of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No.
The truth
It
is,
was all just a
in most of
wasn't it?
the remake, we see Aerith
But one
differently than the OG. She seems less fragile.
and forget.
And of course, there's emphasis in other characters and other stories, you know, but this is transition.
6 months ago. On that day,
Even this scene right here,
on the next, she vanished.
you know, where we see Leslie's girlfriend vanish and go away and disappear, hints the very thing that is going to happen
Come down here.
to Aerith. She will vanish. She will be gone. And although it's sad, although it's hard, although
To let go, but I can't.
it makes no
I
sense,
need closure, because without it,
she is self-sacrificing for the planet,
It's fine.
for the bigger picture.
As long as you get us topside, we're still in.
You know,
thanks.
in
Don't worry.
the next few chapters, we're gonna see a really different Aerith.
You all right?
You know, we're going to see Aerith being more confident, even more than, you know, in these previous chapters.
Follow me.
We're going to see her taking the lead. Gonna see her. Listen, I cannot wait to show you once again chapter 18, where she says
Cornell's mine and mine
an iconic thing, which is
please.
when Claude says he is powerful during the fight against Sephiroth, and she said, yeah, so screw him. Aerith is not, well, can be the same Aerith as the specific timeline, but is definitely knows something, as we all know and come to the conclusion of it. This is a bridge section of this chapter, but once again, no doubt about it, it's a much valued chapter than people think. On chapter 14, we can see once again Aerith's true role as planet's chosen, or if you want to get cute with that, a timeline rebel. She wants to change timelines. Is it for her to survive, or is it just to stop Sephiroth to continue in the light stream? Because we know that he continues there. And once again, like I say, this is no doubt about it. Not a remake, but the continuation of Advent Children. That I have zero doubts.
Leslie, got some urgent info.
And
Don.
one of the boldest theories
Of course.
Really? Without my little
that I've been seeing in the game is
to round them up and bring them to me.
Aerith uses this time,
It's them I came to.
this timeline, to reconnect to her Cetra roots. So this is no longer a remake. Once again, this is a continuation, and we can see that
Think I need to remind you why I'm down.
on later chapters where we see Aerith so much more,
Three escape artists.
powerful, if you want to do and say like that.
Shinra's shit. The place
Don't you think?
meant to be an unprecedented
Well, once again, I want to thank you all for being here until this part of the video, and I appreciate you all
organized an evacuation.
doing
Screwed up the plan.
this small gesture that is watching and helping us with this project. I appreciate you so much, guys. So if you can, once again, I'll ask for your subscriber. You know, be a subscriber. It's free. Comment, like the video. It helps to the engagement. One of the things that is actually really important to understand is perhaps Aerith,
I was gonna let you run your own place.
she's speaking directly with the planet. So many stops that we see, so many things that we see it, maybe, just maybe, she is actually in contact
That situation.
with the planet. In contact even with the Cetra, the dead Cetra that looms around the the actually live stream.
Think again, Don.
It would make sense. It's not a crazy thing to believe that Aerith now can, you know, talk with a live stream, because the other timelines, or even future versions of herself. And if we know the game like we know, and like we can see, it's not that awkward or not that stupid to think about it. Once again, guys, tell me, what do you think about it in the comment section below. It helps us tons to have you here as usual, and we deeply appreciate all that support.
First him, then Corneo.
It's like chapter 14 as a bridge, if you want to say, you know, which is not. I still believe this chapter is not only a bridge, it's way more than that. It's more deep than that, if you want to say it like that. It's way more deeper than just a bridge. This pause that chapter 14 does, kind of pause if you want to see, it's not for rest, it's for reflection, it's for thinking, whoa, what is happening here? What happens here? The game is warning us, actually, and showing us, and maybe even preparing us for things ahead, things that might come. Different things, actually. Things that we don't expect to happen in
You okay?
this timeline, because we already know what is going to happen in the other timeline, right? They grab Aerith,
It's fine.
they survive, they escape, they go to Calm,
Down eventually.
but we're gonna leave that to other episode on this one.
You know, I wouldn't be so
This is the final moment, guys, of peace before everything changes in the Shinra building and beyond.
Can never be sure how much someone means to
Bear in mind,
don't give up.
this will be the last time that you are free in Midgar.
Was it a message?
That you can actually do the quest, and they talk about it, you know, they do talk about it. It's definitely the last time that you have freedom
meet again.
on Midgar.
Symbol of reunion.
Because after this, after you climb all this and you go to the Shinra HQ, it is over. You will never get back to the city slums, never get back to Sector 6, 5 or whatever.
Thanks.
You will stay
I think you might be forgetting something.
in Shinra building and then out of Midgar.
Found it.
On your way,
Let's get out of here.
no, it's not on your way to a smile like the book, but on your way to Aerith fate. And this is painful because you know what's coming. You know that securing Aerith, you know what's coming. And it's crazy and amazing at the same time. So bear in mind that Final Fantasy VII Remake,
This way.
especially in this chapter 14, is like the crossroads.
Grappling guns.
So tell us, guys, in the comment section after this video, tell us, what did you feel during this chapter?
Sector 7 is on the other
Did
side.
it hit different knowing what's coming?
The guns will get you over and past it.
Guys, drop your theories in the comments on this video. And as always,
They're one-way tickets.
make sure, you know,
Once you start up,
like the video,
back.
you subscribe to the channel,
You should
because
probably get your
it
affairs in order.
helps us a lot.
Thank you.
Didn't tell you.
If you love deep Final Fantasy breakdowns, don't forget to give your support on the channel. youtube.com/@simurpg.
You too.
Next up, in next chapter, it will be again a very, very awesome chapter that will help us understanding more and more about all this climb directed to Shinra HQ, and that is gonna help us to identify a few more key points. And like I said, after chapter 14, everything changed. And like Barry said, we won't coming back anytime soon. Let's handle the unfinished business. Well, they don't have any unfinished business now. All it matters is climb this wall, go to Shinra HQ, save Aerith. Well, and that's where chapter 15 begins. My dear guys, I hope you liked the video. Once again, I appreciate you all. Thank you for all the love. Don't forget, guys, like, subscribe, and comment all your theories. We will begin our final climb in Final Fantasy VII Remake, chapter 15. See you in the next one, guys, and I love you all dearly.